Most people post highlights from their vacation. This is not that. From missing a bus, a cancelled flight, and a sketchy motel, this is my misadventure to India. Let's start at the beginning. You see this bus? Yeah, this bus leaves at 6:30 a.m. Guess what time I left the house? That's right, 6:30 a.m. I know. In my defense, I caught up to it by the border. I even joined the line and everything. See?
Just get my passport. Gotta go to the bus right there.
And just like that, I was on my way to Joburg. The leg room wasn't amazing, but hey, who was I to complain? Plus, they were serving snacks. After 6.5 hours, we finally arrived at OR Tambo in Johannesburg. I took the opportunity to grab my bags and head straight to MTN to buy a SIM card. It cost me an arm and a leg. I needed to get data to order an Uber to my hotel room and also get some food. Speaking of which, at this point in my trip, I decided to call it a day. I didn't know it yet, but this was the calm before the storm. Anyway, I packed up my bags and I checked out of the hotel. I didn't have the energy to shoot any videos. I just called my Uber and I headed straight for the airport. And of course, I had to get my bags out because it was going to be a 9-hour-long flight. I just couldn't risk it. And since I came early, I had to wait for the airline to open up that check-in point. The only thing I can do was just sit and observe. But I didn't have to wait too long because after going through security and immigrations, I headed straight to my boarding gate. After that, I started to look around, got a refresher drink, sent a last-minute client deliverable, and went right back to my boarding gate. Now, at this leg of our flight journey, we were going to fly from Johannesburg to Dar es Salaam and then catch a connecting flight from Dar es Salaam all the way to Mumbai in India. It was going to be a long journey, but here's some ASMR for you.
Conversation with use of lavatory at the moment will not be permitted. Thank you. Mami na bwana, napita katika msukosuko wa hewa, tunaomba rudi kwenye kiti. Funga mkanda, rekebisha kitu wima, matumizi ya vyombo sasa, na yataruhusiwa sasa.
Once we got to cruising altitude, it was finally time for the old beef or chicken. And I went with the chicken, to be honest. It was a safe choice. The food itself wasn't so bad. Maybe I'd rate it a 6 out of 10. It wasn't amazing either. I managed to catch the sky at sunset, and man, it was beautiful. But it was time for a nap now. I woke up just as we were arriving in Dar es Salaam. But because we were late, we all had to rush and pack ourselves in like some sardines into the shuttle so we can catch the next flight. When I found my seat, I did a double check of all my belongings just to make sure everything was there, then settled in because this was going to be the longest stretch of this flight. After several hours of going in and out of sleep and watching Dune, we finally arrived in Mumbai. And at this point in my trip, I started to feel more and more relaxed because I thought at the time that I was almost at my destination. So, I'm not sure how to best narrate this next part, but let me give it a go. You see this bus? Yeah, this bus took me to Terminal 1, where I was supposed to catch a local flight to my destination. And what was about to happen next was the worst experience I've ever had with any airline. Listen closely. When I arrived at Terminal 1, I scanned my ticket and I was let in. When I got to the counter, they scanned my ticket and they started looking at each other. That's when I knew something was up. The lady over the counter then looked at me and said, "The flight is canceled." I looked at her back in confusion. Like, what do you mean, the flight is canceled? She then proceeded to call her manager, and they conversed back and forth. But deep down inside, I had a bad feeling. Mind you, I had just arrived in this country. I had no SIM card, no Wi-Fi, no contacts. I didn't know a single individual, so I was basically stuck in this airport. I asked her whether or not they could offer me accommodation for the inconvenience, and they looked at me dead in the eye and said no. The only thing they could do for me is transfer the ticket to the next earliest flight, which was the following day. What's worse is, they told me that I was not allowed to wait inside of the airport for more than 24 hours. So they gave me a 45-minute access to the Wi-Fi to try and contact somebody, and then I was promptly escorted outside. But this is not the end of the story.